the latest boutique museum that houses rare coins, notes, and award-winning collectibles throughout Singapore history.
The Singapore Coins and Notes Museum opened its doors recently to the general public, and it hopes to attract more collectors among the younger generation.
For a closer look at the museum's highlights, let's speak with Park Lee, a museum director of the museum, and who's also the senior vice president and director of the Singapore Mint. Very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So we're looking at rare coins, notes, and collectibles dating back to the 13th century. Give us an idea how extensive this collection is and, the value of it.
Well, there is a lot of coins circulated in this part of the world because of trade. I think the East India Company came, and then they brought along with them currencies and notes, predominantly coins during that period, and they basically trade using it. But the earlier part of it, like the Majapahit, which we are talking about, the 13th century gold nugget with imprint, this small little speck, this is probably the earliest being used in this part of the world.
The Majapahit you're talking about is this one.
Yeah.
Well, that's right there on the screen, but we also have it here with us.
This is the actual size. Take a look at it. I'm not going to take it out because I'm afraid that I'll lose it. If we can just have a shot of this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, where do I place it to? Oh, there we go. This little speck here is the smallest coin in history?
Well, we don't go that far to check out whether it's probably the smallest we have
in the exhibit.
Yeah, in the exhibit, and
let's talk about some other currencies that you've brought in with us. There's also the 1855 Republic Mexicana silver dollar.
Yes.
What's so significant about this dollar?
Okay, this is during the period whereby the trade settlement, the big silver. This is the one. This is during the period where Sir Stamford Raffles comes to Singapore, and then they started the trading with East India Company. But what happened is that in that period, Mexico, which have a lot of silver mine, they were a lot of the Spanish were basically mining the silver, and they actually minted a lot of these coins. It's been very commonly used for trade throughout, not just Asia, but back to Europe.
Right. But today it's really rare, right? How many of it left in the world, do we know?
Nobody actually have a good idea how many.
But you have at least one in your museum. And this is pretty interesting. It's from the Japanese occupation when during World War II. This is called the banana note.
That's right.
And why is it called the banana note? And some people say it's virtually worthless. Is it really worthless?
The banana notes actually comes about. The term was used because banana has been used on the $10 note. Actually, there's more than there are different denominations for the banana notes. The first series came out with serial number. However, as the war progresses, they needed more money. So the Japanese decided to remove the serial number to facilitate printing. Right. At the same time, they basically use alphabet to represent which part of the country that is being circulated.
But what's the true value of it now? I mean, is it really, like Dominic mentioned, some people say it's useless now. Is that true?
Well, you can't spend it, but as part of the history and part of family heritage. For example, if your great-grandfather hands you some banana notes, I think it's worth something to you.
But not in the market.
Not in the market. There's a lot of it. But if you can find those with serial number, which I personally have not seen, it will be probably worth quite a fair bit.
And worth exhibiting as well in your museum. I've got this one. Is this the 150 Raffles Lighthouse 22 karat gold coin?
Yes. This issued 40 years ago to commemorate the 150 years founding of Singapore. The denomination is also quite large, it's $150. At that point of time, two versions of it was being issued. One is the bullion, we issue 190,000 pieces. And the other version is actually the proof mint version, which is much higher quality, and that's 500 pieces being the mintage.
And this is quite heavy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, it's worth $150, but it was auctioned recently, I think, at more than $3,000. Is that right?
That's right, for the mint, the proof version. The proof version, there's only 500 pieces. It's quite rare.
Limited edition.
We've talked about different coins this morning, and of course they're made of different materials. How has that contributed to the value of such coins?
Well, in the olden days, the medium of exchange need to carry some intrinsic value. In fact, that principle has been carried right up to the 1970s, that you need to be backed by gold. As far as coin is concerned, previously, cost gold versus silver versus copper, the value changes and is rightfully denominated that way. But in the present time, in modern world, we no longer require that. So we are using copper nickel to represent coins to be minted.
I do know that you brought in two of your favorite as well from the museum. Maybe you can explain to us why and what's so significant about these two.
These two currencies actually concurrent issued by the Brunei government and the Singapore government to mark the 40-year celebration of the interchangeability currency agreement. What it means is that we can use Singapore dollar in Brunei, and the Bruneian can come to Singapore and shop with the Brunei dollar.
But tell us more about this special commemorative collector's item. What's so special about it? We can see that it's very similar in color, but what other features?
No, I tell you something. I can see the serial number on both are exactly the same.
Yes, we have tried to help the collector to make it a more collectible item in the sense that we actually arrange it. We work with the Brunei government to make sure that we have the same series of serial number, and we put it into a set. And if you turn it the other way, the back, both currency actually have an identical design.
That's right. There we go.
There you go.
And basically one part is the landmark of Singapore, the skyline, and the other one is the famous mosque in Brunei.
Right. Now, a lot of the items on display in the museum are on loan from collectors. Is collecting money, I love to collect money, but I don't, collect collectibles. Is it a popular hobby among people? It
was a very popular hobby back then when Singapore, most of us are coming out of poverty. But I think today we are more sophisticated. We collect stocks and bonds, we collect properties. But nonetheless, coin collections or currency investment in terms of vintage coins and notes, the payoff is still pretty good. But it's a very long-term investment.
Can collectors also buy some of these rare items in the museum?
We do work with some of the dealers. In fact, some of the display items were being sponsored by dealers, and we are quite happy to direct whoever is interested to buy them to the rightful owner. That is something that we always work with our partners.
Very quickly before we go, what are the three things that visitors should look out for when they visit the museum?
There are more than three things, but if for me to choose, the three things that we would like people to pay attention to is basically part of the Singapore history, how we come a long way from a fishing village to what we have today, and how it's been reflected on our coins and notes. That's first part. The second part is actually to look at hologram coin. This is very rare. There's something that Singapore Mint is probably one of the leading mint in the world that are able to do it, fine quality hologram coin. And the third part is actually to learn a little bit about culture of Singapore from coin, not being used as coin, but used as cultural items and decorative items.
Because it really tells your history and the culture. So, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
And our guest this morning is Park Ling, Museum Director of the Singapore Coins and Notes Museum.
Of course, you can visit the museum in Singapore if you're in town at number 2 Terengganu Street, levels 3 and 4. I wish I could keep all,
I know
the
you
coins
want to
and notes.
collect and you want to spend money. That's what you need.
That's right.
Okay, Primetime Morning this Wednesday, 8th of July comes to an end. Hope you enjoy the program. We'll be back tomorrow with another exciting show.
All right, we'll see you then. Goodbye.